When looking at many of the biggest tragedies of the 20th century, many would look to the Titanic and its sinking in 1912. A story we all know so well, how this was a liner that could never be sunk, that simply got unlucky. Well, is this a story that is true, or was there much more that could have been done to save lives? Well, on the night that the Titanic sank, the most important messages weren't dramatic final words, they were routine warnings, interrupted transmissions, and a wireless set that went silent at the worst possible moment. By April 1912, wireless telegraphy was a new technology, and the Titanic carried one of the most powerful Marconi sets afloat, operated by Jack Phillips and Howard Bride. Their main job was sending passenger telegrams, not managing navigation, but that night the wireless room became the center of the disaster. Throughout the 14th of April, the Titanic received several ice warnings from ships ahead in the North Atlantic. One of those ships was the SS Californian. Late that evening, at about 10:55 p.m., Californian's wireless operator Cyril Evans sent a message reporting that his ship was stopped and surrounded by heavy ice. At that moment, Phillips was busy transmitting a backlog of passenger messages to Cape Race. The signal from Californian came through loudly and interrupted his work. Phillips responded sharply, effectively telling Evans to stand by because he was working another station. Shortly afterward, Evans ended his shift and shut down Californian's wireless set for the night. 10 minutes later, at 11:40 p.m., Titanic struck the iceberg. After the collision, Phillips and Bride began sending distress signals, first CQD, then SOS. These messages were picked up by several ships, including the RMS Carpathia, which immediately turned toward Titanic's position. But California's wireless was off. Evans was asleep, and the closest ship to the Titanic never heard the distress calls in real time. Meanwhile, officers aboard Californian saw rockets in the distance during the early hours of the morning. They didn't interpret them as distress signals from a sinking liner, and Captain Stanley Lord didn't order his ship through the surrounding ice field. Carpathia, much farther away, arrived around 4 a.m. and rescued about 700 survivors. At this time, more than 1,500 people had already died. Later inquiries examined Californian's role in detail. Both British and American investigations criticized the lack of response, concluding that Californian was likely closer than it claimed and might have saved many more lives had it acted decisively. There was no single sentence that doomed the Titanic. What mattered were warnings that didn't change course. A tense exchange between wireless operators, a radio turned off at midnight, and rockets misunderstood in the darkness. Wireless communication both failed and succeeded that night. It failed to prevent the collision, but it saved hundreds of lives. And in the aftermath, maritime law changed forever. Ships were required to maintain a 24-hour radio watch. Lifeboat rules were rewritten. Technology that had been treated as secondary became mandatory. The Titanic didn't sink because it missed a few words. It sank because small decisions, human assumptions, and imperfect communication converged in one frozen stretch of the Atlantic, and the consequences reshaped the world's oceans forever. If you'd like to hear us talk about more areas of culture and far more, please do like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.